Welcome back to Ultra Life Today. Our special guest is Mary Jane Fry. Some of you know her, some of you don't know her. Mary Jane, what is an easy way for people to reach out to you so that they can take advantage of the unique things that you're doing to help people determine how to get well?
I'm at Medic Pharmacy here in Oklahoma City. We're located at Hefner Point, and our phone number is 405-755-3921, or my email address is medicpharmacy@sbcglobal.net.
Okay, very good. And you do a fair amount of Zoom type meetings with people, right? Because I think you've had some people reach out before when we've interviewed you that are in other cities and maybe even out of state.
I've done more just FaceTime than Zoom.
Okay,
I
very
need
good.
to probably get more into the Zoom realm. So yes, I definitely, sometimes I'm just on the phone with people. I love the personal interaction. So when people can come to town, that's great. But I have patients and practitioners who refer patients to me from the Panhandle, and so I have that ability to
Lovely.
to
Okay.
do that.
So we went down, you were talking about the 3x4 test, and you were talking about the 4 pathways in the body: detox, inflammation, methylation. We haven't talked about oxidative stress yet. So tell our viewers what the heck oxidative stress is and why it's important and what you learned from this test.
So let me first say there's actually 20-some pathways, but the 4 cellular pathways, which means they're happening in every cell in the body, are those top 4. And then trickle-down effects to other pathways. So there's a lot going on there. But the oxidative stress pathway has been described to me as we're rusting from the inside out.
Oh, that
and
doesn't
so
sound fun.
antioxidants are like vitamin C, vitamin E, CoQ10. Those are a few of the antioxidants. So we have different biochemistry processes going on all the time. They need cofactor nutrients. They need the pathway genetically to be primed and ready to work for us to take care of the oxidation. Even hydrogen peroxide has to be oxidized properly, or you can have problems with hydrogen peroxide. So the most common one that I tell people about is like CoQ10 and how it affects our system in terms of cholesterol medications. There's a class of cholesterol medications. People are commonly familiar with the statins. And the statins work at a spot in the system that actually affects our CoQ10. And if you genetically are predisposed to having a risk impact from not getting enough CoQ10 or not processing it the right way, then you might have muscle cramps, foot cramps. But you can also, if you're not getting CoQ10, it can be cellular brain function type issues also.
And I've heard some things, I'd love to have you validate this, but I've heard some integrative cardiologist types say a certain amount of CoQ10 can help mitigate the effects of a stroke or a heart attack, and that individuals that have a higher level of that, even if they do have a cardiac event, that they come out of it on the other side so much better. Is there something to that?
I haven't seen that specifically, but what I do know is one of the first things I learned about it was heart failure issues and CoQ10. And it actually, one of the first stories was from a veterinarian who had told me about CoQ10 and heart failure and how it saved a dog from dying, and the dog lived several more years. So that was kind of from an animal perspective early on, before I even learned about statins and the potentials. Some doctors don't believe in the statin impact of blocking the CoQ10, but the patients who have had the side effects.
Oh my goodness! I
believe
know
in
so
it.
many people who've had side effects from statins. So Adam, it's interesting because you kind of shared a little secret with me a little while back that you and the lab people here at Ultra Botanica had played around with CoQ10, and that's probably something we're going to be doing in the future, maybe?
We actually have made it already. We you know, CoQ10 is one of those structures.
He keeps me so in the loop, Mary Jane. I'm up to date on things. He's like, we did that about 2 years ago, Josh.
Yeah, I mean, CoQ10 is really interesting, but we had to, you know, you have to choose your battles here.
Sure, sure.
It's actually structurally, it works with our patented technology.
Lovely.
We can drive CoQ10 right into the body, and we've made it for some formulas, but it hasn't, you know, we haven't focused on it.
No. But I'm thinking like the newer version of Ultra Pet, the Ultra Pet Plus.
Well, I mean,
and things like that. But after the veterinarian story, it's going to be fun.
It will be a new version of Ultra Cardio.
Right,
honestly,
exactly.
Something
Yeah.
that would
Right,
really
for
help
sure.
with cardiovascular health. You know,
But it could be Ultra Brain also
sure.
with other, the curcumin and the CoQ10 together. It could definitely
And
be
Endolift,
beneficial.
maybe.
Okay, we're keeping you
Yeah.
around, Mary Jane. You're full of great ideas today. So anyway.
Let's go back to the oxidative
Yeah,
stress.
yeah.
So there are also pathways within the oxidative stress that has to do with blood sugar. And there's specific SNPs that fit into that pathway. I'm small. I had family history of blood sugar issues. Both my parents were called diabetic or pre-diabetic
Right.
during their lives. My blood sugars, even though I was exercising and I was cutting back and eating healthier, I could not get my A1C, which is a 3-month average of our blood sugar, to come down.
Under control.
It just kept creeping up. 5.7, 5.8,
And
5.9.
at this point, when that was happening, were you aware of dietary considerations, and were you,
I
know,
was doing
eating
the
clean and stuff?
dietary.
Wow.
Yes, I was
Okay,
doing
so
all
this
of that.
is getting intriguing.
So when I saw my genetics and found out it had to do with oxidative stress, I looked at the whole oxidative stress picture. One thing is you need to decrease high intensity exercises sometimes and do more yoga and walking
Yeah,
and those
stretching,
kinds
walking,
of things.
yeah.
Endurance, but not high intensity.
Right.
Because the high intensity is a stressor in your oxidative stress pathway.
Just another, people
Right.
don't realize that if they're like you're saying, they can actually be working out real hard, and their inflammatory markers are just starting to go through the roof.
Exactly. So that's one. The next one is sleep. So you have to make sure you're getting good quality sleep. So for the last 6 months or so, I've been wearing my watch at night,
Ooh.
and I've been watching how many hours I sleep and how well I sleep, because there's something called heart rate variability that is now one of the markers that they're looking at for sleep and longevity.
I have something I want you to try, Mary Jane.
Well, that's what I was going to say. This is a big setup, because we baptized Mary Jane into the world of Endolift
Oh, my
today,
God.
even though she has recommended it to some of her patients, and it's had profound impact on individuals
their
that
sleep.
had had severe insomnia for a long time. So anyway,
So
now
I am-
Adam's,
I
that was
am-
such a
you've-
setup.
you've like-
Okay, keep going.
Like you're like the perfect test case,
Yes,
actually.
you are.
So we've been studying Endolift for some time, and we are taking a little bit of a departure from oxidative stress. Would you mind? I feel like I'm one of those Dr. Seuss books. Trying
Could you with some endo?
Endolift before you go to bed and seeing how that changes your sleep
I
profile.
would love to do that. That would be
Yeah,
fun.
you know,
I
that's
think
how
it will. I think it'll be profound.
That's the original information I gave you, Mary Jane, was my friend who's been on our show, wrote the
I
book
do
Father's
remember
Heart,
that,
Logan
yeah.
Duvall. He and his uncle were wearing watches, and his uncle was dealing with a cancer situation, and intuitively just asked Logan, hey, should I take this at night? He said, I'd kind of like to. And Logan said, it's not a stimulant. It shouldn't do anything negative. And he got all excited the next day because he was wearing one of those hour-ring
Yeah.
watches, and just goes, whoa, regenerative sleep. Like, I hit the deep sleep, stayed there like almost twice as long. So yeah, you're a great test case for
That'll
us.
be
So
fun.
next time we have you back, we're going to let you share your story. Hopefully it'll be a good result. Because,
That's right.
Because, so again, regenerative sleep. Keep going down that oxidative stress regenerative sleep road, because I would dare say that most people I run into every day are probably not getting a lot of true regenerative sleep. How do we?
Well, one thing is you ask people if they're dreaming, and they 90% of the time say no. So it was funny. Like 2 nights ago, I dreamed about the Pope. And I've never dreamed about the Pope. I am Catholic, but
Well,
I didn't. I'd never dreamed about the Pope before. And I went to a
got
meeting.
that gift.
I went to a meeting yesterday, and the priest was telling about a trip to Italy, and I was like, "Oh, that's so funny," because I told the story about the dreaming about the Pope.
That's
And he
great.
goes, "That's your clue. You're supposed to go to Rome with me." So pretty funny. But on top of,
I'm a big believer in dreams. I've had them impact my life and other people around me in a big
I
way.
haven't always slept as well. So hormonal, lots of different things that go on. Histamines. When we were at the meeting, they talked about how histamine actually will raise your heart rate. So then your heart rate variability is messed up. And he said 3 hours after you go to bed, if your heart rate variability goes up, then you had a histamine food before bed.
You actually take a histamine-inducing food
No.
before bed?
No.
Okay.
No.
So you
I'm
had.
saying if somebody, like, let's say we were at this meeting and they were going to have a cocktail party.
Okay.
And the speaker said, I bet that anybody who's looking at their watches tomorrow morning, if you have a glass of wine, you're going to see a heart rate spike,
Gosh,
at that time
alcohol
frame.
affects our sleep so much.
But histamine is part of that also.
Okay.
So histamine foods, if you're on that histamine pathway and you're not sleeping and you're eating those foods at night, that can do it. Chocolate can raise, the
Yeah.
caffeine. So watching the sleep has been pretty fascinating. I also was taking your guys' Ultra Cure with the berberine, the
Oh, yeah.
adjunct 3.
Sure. The
Pathway 3.
product.
Pathway 3.
Okay.
And utilizing that to try to work on my blood sugar so that I could have some extra support for my blood sugar because I was already eating right, but my blood sugars, weren't coming down.
Interesting.
And so with a couple of minutes left, you are on your own journey there about your elevated A1C, and how did you ultimately solve that riddle? And do you have it in a good place now?
I don't have it exactly where I want it to be, but I'm still working on that sleep.
Okay.
So I'm hoping that as I get the sleep better, then that's going to be part of the process.
Who would have thought that sleep would affect so many different things in the body? I mean, I've never heard the correlation between sleep and A1C before, and you're saying it's potential. It could
Because
be a
of that
potential.
oxidative stress.
Yeah. That's wild.
For many years, I mean, I liken the human body to a car, right? And just from a simplistic point of view, a car takes oil, takes gas, it needs air in the tires, we need air in the lungs. But it really, it's like most of us in life go through our existence without ever going to a mechanic or getting a tune-up or really understanding the nature of our engine and what's going on. We never have the spark plugs changed.
Maintenance.
We never get the spark plugs checked and the oil filter and all this stuff done properly. And it's only now that we have the tools to plug in the car into the diagnostics to get a good read about what's going on. Mm-hmm. If we're just going through life and only going to the doctor when we're sick or when we're something is going wrong, we're not doing a service to ourselves at this point. There are so many tools that are available now that can give us such an incredible view on how our all of these different aspects, oxidative stress, genomic, metabolic,
Gut health,
you name it. We have the tools to be able to look at this.
We're going to a break. You've been listening to Adam Payne and Mary Jane Fry. I'm Josh Bellew. This is Ultralife Today. We're going to be right back, but you need to know how to contact Mary Jane Fry. Medic Pharmacy, MEDIC Pharmacy at sbcglobal.net. Mary Jane Fry, also a phone number you could call, area code 405-755-3921. All right, we'll be right back. Welcome back to Ultra Life today. Thanks for joining us. If you love what we're doing, share it with friends. Give us a 5-star rating. Help us beat the big tech algorithm. I am Josh Bellew, one of your hosts.
I'm Adam Payne, the other guy, and we're interviewing the last portion of our segment, or fourth segment, Mary Jane Fry. Hey, Mary Jane.
Fry.
Hi.
Have you been enjoying this?
I have. I love talking to you guys.
It's fun. So, what could you just describe kind of the journey that we've been on over the last 3 shows? Where are we at?
We have talked about how I came to functional medicine, how we had tools available to us in different places that we started diving, or I started diving into with
That
patients.
fall outside of the allopathic world historically, right?
Yes,
They fall
absolutely.
outside the conventional
Yes.
medicine world. Okay,
Yes.
it's very important for people
So,
to understand that.
Root cause is your individual reason for how you tick the way you tick. And we can see that from different
The 3x4 test we've been talking about.
There's gut tests, there's hormone tests. I started in hormones, and so I still take care of a lot of patients with hormone issues. Because of the world of weight loss now, we're diving into some weight loss issues that are really interesting. So,
And you, like Dr. Wyndham, it'll be for a next show, but we were
Exactly.
talking off camera, and you mentioned that you, like she does, really rely on one test, which is the stool sample test. And that's a good one. We won't get into that one. We might have a chance at the end of this. But okay,
It's such a fascinating world.
It is.
It is a fascinating world.
So the 3x4 test, you talked about these cellular pathways, detoxification, inflammation, methylation, oxidation. You gave some interesting examples, like, if a person's not methylating B vitamins, that could actually be the root of their migraines. How many people out there? I mean, I'm thinking about this now. What I'm trying to do is I'm plead with our viewers to recognize, how are $10 copays working for you with your insurance if you continue to have migraines for 20 or 30 years? Is it time to look outside that and do something like consulting with Mary Jane Fry? I think it is. And I think that when you you pay $200 or $300 for a test, and some of those less, some maybe more, all of a sudden you've unlocked the world of what may really have caused those migraines all your life. Is that right?
absolutely. So 3x4 is $299 for the actual test.
Oh, wow.
It was $350 when I first started, and they've brought their price down, which doesn't happen very often. So I'm very proud of them for
Fantastic.
seeing how they can reach more patients and be able to do that.
So less than the cost of an iPhone 9, you can get a full-blown picture of your genomic makeup.
Yes,
For
way
the-
less
for-
than an
for-
iPhone
for the-
9.
for- way less.
I think
No,
iPhones
hey,
are
Adam,
up to like 14.
Yeah, I was going to say,
so-
where
I
have
was
you
like-
been buying your iPhones on the black market?
Yeah.
He's getting the old
AirPod
versions.
Pro for less than
Well,
the
about the
cost
same
of
price of an
AirPod
AirPod Pro.
Yeah,
There you go.
all right.
So listen to good music, or actually get some insight into the functional, physical, metabolic view of what's going on with your body. It's
Exactly.
so valuable.
So the other side of the cost is the consulting fees.
Okay.
Every practitioner has a different consulting fee schedule.
Rate structure, sure.
So that's not something that's covered on insurances 90% of the time. So it's something you have to look at. What
But
most
look at
people
this.
do,
They actually get to make friends with Mary Jane Fry.
There you
I'd pay
go.
for that. I would so pay for that.
On top of that, flexible spending and health savings are a way
Oh,
that some
that's a great
people
idea.
Oh, nice.
can utilize for the hormone testing, for the gut testing, for the genetics, any of those things. So
Can that actually even work with their consultation with you?
yes.
Oh, nice.
Yes, I
Good to know.
can build to being in the pharmacy setting. It works to be able to. It's nice to have a referral, but I don't have to
Okay,
have a
okay.
referral.
And Deanna
So-
Wyndham, who we interviewed just a couple of weeks back or 3 weeks or so ago, she had mentioned this sophisticated world of insurance codes, where she said it's probably not in the hundreds of thousands, it's probably in the millions that are out there. But she has been able to fit certain codes into some of these tests. Is that If that's not working for you, get a hold of Dr. Wyndham, because she's got some tricks up her sleeve on that.
As the pharmacist, the insurance companies don't recognize us as healthcare
Oh,
providers
well,
at
that's
this
Wah,
time.
rats.
wah.
Yeah.
Rats.
So we don't have that ability to bill to them.
Okay, so you could
So-
collaborate with a doctor, though, like Dr. Wyndham. and
Right.
You could get that worked out. Okay.
Most of the doctors, the functional medicine doctors, are not going down that road
Gotcha.
because
Yeah.
there's
Yeah.
appeals. There's
it's difficult. I know.
Most of the
It's so
functional docs
difficult.
we know don't even take insurance.
No, it's
Right.
cash pay. Yeah,
it's
total
just-
cash pay.
I look at a doctor these days, and typically behind every doctor is 3 insurance people,
Right.
just for them to manage the automatic denials and all of
Exactly.
the flow.
Yep.
Just for them to get compensated, they have to have a whole team of people pushing forms.
right.
Right.
And so the doctors that are functional medicine doctors on a cash pay basis, they basically just say, we're not going to have all those extra employees. We're going to do it cash pay. We can keep our prices down more by doing it cash pay.
And if you have
Plus-
something that you can pay by insurance, please file it on your own behalf, right?
Right.
Yeah.
The problem with the insurance companies also, years ago, there were some insurance companies that started kicking physicians out of their networks because they were ordering certain tests. And so you've got that
Right.
problem also.
Yeah, I get it.
You know,
I
they
get it.
don't, the insurance companies don't get it. They don't get
So-
that we can change a path into health from illness and save the insurance companies, you know, time and time again.
And at our core here, we can't forget that our whole desire, really, Adam brought it up earlier, why not get a genetic test, or maybe you did, you brought it up, why not get a genetic test for that grandchild or that child? Because now you put them on a prevention pathway where it's not dragging the car with AAA in, after the wreck has happened. I mean, this idea of prevention just needs to be paramount in the minds of parents and grandparents that may actually have some money to be able to say, because we know what's going on with childhood disease right now, and it
Right.
is the ugliest thing that anyone has ever seen in terms of
Mental
diabetes,
health.
obesity, mental health. You just keep going down the list.
Right.
So it's crazy. So can you think of a couple of examples of clients of yours that you took through the 3x4 and give some? I'm one of those persons that believes, like Adam does, when you hear a personal story of someone having a transformation that took place as a result of a consultation with someone like you, some of our other guests, if you have an example of something like that that you discovered, they discovered, and now their life has turned around and shifted into a road to health, a journey to health and freedom.
I had one really quick, dramatic story. There was a young man, he was probably in his 30s. He came into the genetic review, and I hadn't met him yet. His wife had been the one who encouraged him to do the
Good for her.
genetics. And he literally had cotton or Kleenex up his nose because he was dripping constantly.
Oh, wow.
So he
Took
just,
the antihistamines, everything.
Yeah.
And he just popped with the highest propensity towards histamine issues. And so that was a very fast, dramatic change when we could say, okay, these are the foods that you can't eat. These are the foods you should eat. These are the
And for
supplements.
him, would you name a few of those foods that would create a real problem for someone like him? So people
A
know.
lot of the histamine foods are healthy foods.
Right.
So avocados is on the list. Egg whites is on the list.
Wow. You
Peppers
just like,
are on the list.
I'm sure glad I don't have that problem because
So-
I love everything you just said.
So now what we're doing, instead of just saying don't eat those foods, we're adding in a special strain of probiotic that actually calms histamine down.
Oh, interesting.
We're giving
Lovely.
diamine oxidase, which is an enzyme that breaks the
Dia
histamine.
what? Say that again? That's a new one for me.
DAO, or diamine oxidase,
Okay.
is an
Okay.
enzyme that will break down the histamine.
Oh, nice.
So that's a nice one.
So then
apples
potentially-
and green beans
Okay.
have quercetin in them.
Ooh.
So you can give quercetin
Right.
for those patients, or you can have them eat apples and green beans and help them that way. So actually, I've put a lot of people on your guys' quercetin product.
And have you seen
And-
benefit?
they're refilling coming back in, buying more. So
Yeah.
So
they are
is-
definitely seeing benefit.
So for people like me that I don't have a problem, but for those people that
But
do
you have
the
a lot of
problem-
problems, but we
well, I
just
know,
don't know what
I
they
know.
are.
I don't air out my dirty laundry on the show very often.
No,
so
just Adams.
Anyway, right?
I'm the
Absolutely.
punching bag
you
here.
know, that's right. Well, he rolls with it very, very well. But what I was going to say is there opportunity? You mentioned the DAO, diamine oxidase. You mentioned one other thing, but can you then potentially have some cheat days? Or when you get things like the probiotic and stuff, can those people then sometimes go, oh, avocado, if they try to introduce maybe one food back in at a time, can they sometimes go, oh, wow, I corrected that gut problem. I used this diamine oxidase, this enzyme, and now I can actually
Enjoy
eat
this
some
food.
avocado, and it's not just freaking them out.
You can. I have a great chart that shows that it's a stacking effect. So if you are in stress and you have external allergies going on, if you're a female and your cycle is going on, all of those things stack on top of each other.
And then you trigger it with
and
a
then you
food
trigger it with the
episode.
wine or
Yep.
the food that's going to cause the issue.
That makes
So
sense.
yes, when you work the lifestyle, you work the supplements, you can have a more normal food existence of what you want
without
to
having
eat.
those massive triggering events.
Exactly.
That's really cool. Okay, so I want to make sure, and we've got, about 4 minutes left, 3.5 minutes. You'll need to be able to contact Mary Jane Fry. There's a local phone number here in Oklahoma, 405-755-3921. That's 405-755-3921. And then email medicpharmacy@sbcglobal.net. That's medicpharmacy@sbcglobal.net. So next time, Mary Jane's actually going to tell us a little bit about her own personal experience with sleep, Adam, because you
Endolive.
so set her up on that,
I'm
I
excited.
promise I didn't just offer you Endolive when you came in today.
I asked you
because
for
of
the
that.
Endolive.
I was
No.
walking down the hall and said, I'm doing my endo. And you're like, where's mine? And then when
try
I heard
that.
you hadn't tried it before. So are you feeling anything, by the way? Do you know? Have you noticed anything different?
I feel good.
Okay,
Yeah, it's-
well,
I
I'm
mean,
glad.
Hopefully I've
Well,
talked.
it's the company. It's the company here. So anyway, so where are we going to? Well, okay, real quick, because we've got a couple of minutes, and this will be a beautiful segue into the next time we have you back. We didn't get deep into what a stool sample test is going to uncover and show you. So tell us real quickly a little bit about that. We'll give your contact information again, and then
We'll
say
be
goodbye
done.
till next time. Yeah.
So stool tests are different. There's traditional doctors, gastroenterologists will order stool tests. It's a couple bacteria that they check for. If somebody has
C. diff.
Clostridium C. diff, that would be one reason to check for a stool sample.
But again,
or
that's
if-
all just pathogenic kind of approaches, right? Rather
Right.
than functional.
Right. Or if somebody, has they've been overseas or been to the lake and they're
Right.
having
Potential parasite
gut
issues, all kinds
right.
of things like that.
So
Okay.
that's the typical one. This test is a more complete test. There's different names for it, but it's basically a gastrointestinal mapping test,
Ooh,
or they abbreviate it GI map. But
Okay.
different companies have different names.
Yep.
But what we can see in that test is more than just the bacteria. We see bad bacteria, we see the good probiotics. If you're high in the probiotics or if you're low in the probiotics, or probacteria, the good bacteria.
Right.
But we can also see whether you have the right enzymes in your system. So you're breaking down your vegetables, or you're breaking down your fats, or you're breaking down your proteins. So we can see that. We can also see
Wow.
your immune system. And if you have a low immune system in your gut, then you're going to be more prone to getting more infections. So we can see that. We can see the pH of the gut. So,
and all these
or the
things,
stool.
every single thing you've mentioned can be just the critical element for someone feeling good or feeling really bad.
Right.
So, okay, we're going to pause right here. And
But the result of getting the the flora and the stool, for lack of a better term, that there's no good term for it, but to get it right is transformative for people.
Absolutely.
Right?
Yes.
It can be really, because so many of our nutrients and biological processes are actually directly dependent upon
Gut
the
health.
metabolic results of the flora in our colon.
No
And the acid
question
in our
about
colon, or in our stomach.
In their
Yeah.
stomach,
Our
yeah.
hypochlorhydria
Right,
that Keith
right.
has talked about a
Sure,
lot.
sure.
So
when-
there's so many different things that go with that.
If it's out of balance and you get it right, so many things fall into place.
Gut health is the core for a lot of dermatology issues.
Oh,
And the
absolutely.
dermatologists do not focus on that very often.
No.
It's huge. You know,
Yeah.
we can spend, the dermatology manufacturers have huge numbers of products that are hundreds of dollars, when if we can get to the gut core, the core of what's
Yep.
going on in the gut, we can help
We can
that.
fix it.
Absolutely.
Absolutely.
You have been listening to our special guest and friend, Mary Jane Fry. You can contact her, Medic Pharmacy, at sbcglobal.net. That's MEDIC, the word pharmacy, at sbcglobal.net. The local number you can reach her at to schedule an appointment, consultation, 405-755-3921. Please tell your friends about Ultralife Today if you feel like we're bringing relevant content and excellent guests like the one we've had today.
Good information.
That's right. I am Josh Bellew.
I'm Adam Payne, and we've had...
Mary Jane Fry.
Thanks for joining us. Stay tuned next week for another great guest.